Welcome to the Windows and Computer channel, and kind of saying farewell a little bit to Windows 7 here. Windows 7 is getting its last updates today. So that, of course, means that Windows 7 will now not get any security updates for the future. Now, there have been cases like in Windows XP where some really huge security flaw created an update, but that they pushed, and that might happen in the future. But today is the end of the line for Windows 7, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. So it was a pretty much one of those loved operating systems. Actually, I mean, Windows 7 was really very popular, and probably the most popular Windows version until Windows 10 came through, and it's kind of interesting. It's the end of an era. It followed Windows Vista, which was a huge fiasco, and it was introduced to everybody and available on October 22nd, 2009. A lot of people have been asking me, why do they retire? Well, Microsoft retires its operating system after 10 years, so it did its 10-year run. And that's where it's all ending. It got a service pack, and it's one of those systems that was extremely stable, very, very nice. It introduced some new technologies, including the Windows Aeroglass effect. A lot of people compare the fluent design of Windows 10 to Aeroglass from Windows 7. Some of it does look the same, but it's a completely different system. And kind of interesting to see. It was the start of a few things, including a new action center to overview system security and maintenance. It had major changes in its user account control system to shield it a little more against attacks. And it was the first operating system that really protected its system files at a higher level than previous versions. It included Internet Explorer 8 when it actually shipped. It included Windows Media Player. And one of the things that some versions had that a lot of people actually enjoyed back then, the Windows Media Center, was something also that was in there. So kind of interesting as we are moving on. It, of course, was the first version of Windows that people could have what today we call the Windows Insider program. But back then, they had access to something called a technical preview. And that was something new. I mean, when they actually started this, it was something that nobody had before seen. Microsoft offering enthusiasts to actually test Windows 7 before it actually became officially, available to everybody, which was kind of nice. It was called the technical preview back then. This is what it looks like. This is what we had. I remember I was one of the first to actually participate in that technical preview, and that was kind of fun. Remember that being excited at the fact that we could see things before everybody else, and that was kind of cool. And today we have the Insider program. Probably this is the start of why the Insider program exists today, I guess. And it had, of course, this rating system. They tried to introduce something called a rating, and there was like this number, which was the Windows Experience Index, that was supposed to be used and easy to understand so that you'd know immediately by looking at a game that you're compatible. But it doesn't quite work like that, and it doesn't quite work at all like that. It never really took on, and basically that number was always the least performant hardware that you have in your PC was pretty much what decided that number was all about, which didn't always reflect reality also. You can't get a rating for a PC performance. It's more complex than that. There were, of course, several editions from the Windows 7 Starter Edition which lacked a lot of features, to the Windows 7 Home Premium, to the Windows 7 Pro and Ultimate. All of that was in there. They had several versions. You know, I personally always bashed Microsoft at the fact that they had too many different versions of Windows. I mean, you know, they should have had something like, at least, you know, lower it down to just 3 versions, like, you know, for example, something like Windows 7 Home, Pro, and Enterprise. Or why not just have Windows 7 for consumers, Windows 7 for enterprise, that's it. It's always been something that you're like, yeah, too many versions, and we don't even know what to use. So it was really loved, but what people forget, and you know, a lot of people started going crazy at Windows 10 or Windows 8, saying, oh, it's bad, it's bad. But like every operating system from Microsoft, Windows 7 started out as, oh, it's bad, I want to go back. I was a tech guy at that time, and I don't know how many people told me, I want to go back to XP. I don't want this. I want XP. And I would try to, you know, explain to them that it was better to stay on Windows 7, was more modern, and so on. But, you know, it's a complex thing out there to try to change the way a little bit people work on different things. And it was one of the versions of Windows that introduced some of the changes that meant that some of the older devices didn't work. And in times of Windows XP, there were still a lot of people using hardware that were meant for Windows 98 or Windows Millennium, but had compatible drivers updated. But Windows 7 had a new system for drivers, and what happened is the Windows 7 driver system meant that a lot of drivers, if they were not updated, that are on Windows XP, were not compatible. And probably the biggest issue that I've seen on Windows 7 was people, you know, wondering why that 8-year-old printer they have is going to stop working now, and there's nothing to do, and that they have to not buy a new one when it actually works perfectly well. And a lot of people, of course, you know, bashing Windows 7 and Windows and Microsoft because of that, when in reality, the biggest problem was the manufacturer of these devices that just didn't upgrade its drivers. So all sorts of interesting little things. It actually had one of the first systems where we could actually upgrade some of the drivers within Windows Update. And also, you know, it just was a nice operating system. I've used it for so long. I enjoyed using it. I'm happy with Windows 10. You know, a lot of people, there's a mixed bag of people on Windows 10. I think most people like it, but there's always people that, you know, hate new versions or new technologies. So, bye-bye Windows 7. It was nice meeting you, and really enjoyed having Windows 7 through the years. If you've got some fond memories, something you want to, you know, share with everybody that you remember about Windows 7, what you liked or what you didn't like, it didn't mean you had to like Windows 7 also. Some people didn't like Windows 7. Why not share your thoughts? Please, no F word, no bad words. I delete. You know, there are comments, unfortunately, out there that are very nice, but they drop an F word in it or some word that I cannot accept on the channel, and I have to delete them because of that. Explain it in a way that, you know, is friendly for everybody, please. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thanks for watching.